Well, thanks for joining us on this very hot, balmy evening for the Public Safety Facility Advisory Committee. Can we do a quick roll call?
Ryan Flanders.
Todd Davis.
David Martindale.
Craig Wilbur. All four members are present. We have a quorum. Do you want to lead us to allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Agenda.
We don't have a printed agenda.
Oh, okay. My apologies. So I'm going to go off memory. I believe there were two things we wanted to open up. Anything that was within 48 hours of the meeting, and I just wanted to put that first. If there was anything we wanted to talk about other than the community engagement process that's been going on.
No, I have nothing.
Okay. So that will be the only topic for the evening then. Yep. So I know that the community engagement group has been busy for the last month and change, putting together some presentation information. And tonight what we're hoping to do is review it, hopefully approve it, and schedule what will be the next method or the methods we'll use to distribute this to the general public and so forth. So,
You want to get the minutes out of the way first?
Sure. Thank you.
Make a motion to approve the minutes of 5/27.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
None opposed?
No, it's
So,
Who's going to lead the show for the community engagement
I
portion of
think I
this?
just start off, and I think we met like 4 times this week, and the information met, or in the last month. And I think that we took all the information that was provided by everybody, went through it, and consolidated down to here. I'd like to thank Ryan and Becky for putting an extreme amount of time into this and doing everything. I was going to have Ryan lead off with everything that we got going. He can walk us through it, if you don't mind.
Sure. So the first thing that we went through were the questions. So we started with the questions that were provided by our former member, Tony. We went through those questions. We amended them. We collated some of them, and this was the final collection of questions. So it's 12 questions. This is what we propose to send out to the town, allow them to vote via the website and potentially, or actually via the website. And we can have conversations about that when we do the in-person meetings and discussions, which is another topic that we'll cover. So this was the distilled list of questions. We'd like everyone on the board to review them, provide comments back to them, and if there's no comments, we'd like to use those going forward.
Thank you. Just a quick question, and this may not be something you all have an answer to tonight, but question 5 related to tax burden that would result from the station. I just want to make sure that those numbers reflect a real number. So the $412 per year, do we know that that's an actual number of $34 per month? I don't necessarily want to put that out there unless someone from the town can tell us if that's
So we can go back and we can present it to folks at the town and see if they agree with it, with the maths. So
that's what I'm thinking. I'm not sure if the math is right or wrong.
Shouldn't be a problem,
I
but
think we just took
don't mind redoing it.
an average of the amount of households in the town of Dalton,
Okay.
and broke that down by a number. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So went with the number, broke it down by the houses, 12 months, and
Okay.
that's where it roughly came out to be.
I just think if the number's in there,
Yeah.
for my opinion, when I see a number, I'll hold that number forever. So
Yeah.
I'll be looking at that saying, I'm only paying $34 a month, and then down the road, it's 90. So I just want to make sure if we're putting a number out there, either we can
That's
say
fair.
nothing at all,
Yeah.
or we can just verify it. That would be my only comment.
Okay.
I don't know if we have to make comments tonight, or not, if we want to
No,
just do that.
I
after
mean,
some review.
ideally, I'd love to try and get through this tonight, but the reality is that people will need time to review and comment on that. It'll be fine.
Yeah, the biggest thing is that's just one question, just go through that one, and if it works, we'll just keep it as is. But if anybody had any other questions that they should think they should be in there, it would be a discussion point
Sure.
to add now before we move on.
This is all focused on building a brand-new facility, correct?
Well, this is off of our study.
Understood,
Yeah.
understood, but it would be based on building a new facility.
Yes.
So that's a question, good question that Dave brought up. Do we have a need, or do we want to have any questions related to, I don't know what it is, something other than a
Talking
new
about-
building?
Well, as you know, any building, whether it's an old building that's gonna get converted and remodeled into a new building, it's gonna be a new building any way you look at it versus a remodeled new building like they did in Williamstown, or we'll take a building and remodel it. But right now, we don't even know if we're moving forward with anything. So we're just at the questionnaire part of it with, to see if the town's ready for it. I think the quicker we can get all this stuff back to everybody, we can find out whose engagement is actually there. And then, that's the first phase of it. Second phase, I'm sure we'll have much broader strokes with things,
Thoughts?
Got to start someplace.
Yeah.
I think this is great. I don't see a whole lot of things we need to change. I think these are great questions. Has the group thought about how they would distribute it, how they would receive it back? Has there been any discussion?
Oh, yeah, we got,
So the discussion has revolved around the meetings that we're going to eventually put dates to engage the town at, we're looking at 5 different times, 3 different locations, and then also looking to potentially send out a postcard flyer similar to what the Water Commission did, looking to try and get people to go, drive people to the website where they can go and fill out the questionnaire.
So would the questionnaire come before these workshops or during those workshops?
In conjunction with, so
you could
depending
fill
on
them
the-
out at a workshop, then someone could have access to these, and you could hand them out and collect them back during those?
So the thought was that we would have this all online to make it easier to collate all the answers and the responses.
Okay, so some type of survey tool.
yeah,
It's kind of like a Google
That's what
Doc.
this,
Gotcha.
that's what's on the back of this.
This is what it's ultimately going to drive it to, so
Okay.
we'll get to that in a second. But that's how we're looking to engage the public on it.
Okay.
So we'll have the information sessions, we will talk to the questionnaire, we'll ask people to fill it out, we'll give them the links and the information that they need to go and fill it out, but then they'll have to go and do that either on their phones or their home PCs or what have you.
Okay.
Do we have money for postage?
I thought we had money for, we had money within that arbor funds for maybe putting
Thought that was
postage out.
gone.
Yeah, that's gone. They only gave us the amount for the architect and the
Yeah.
amount for Lisa, and all the other went back to wherever. But the town has monies for this type of work, so I'll ask Lori if they can mail them out.
And didn't they also have, was it the grant, there was some grants available for, that might cover some of that too?
It would, I just
Yep.
don't have an idea when the money would be available.
Right.
It could reimburse the town at some
Yeah.
point, but if we're looking to do this in the next month or two, then we're gonna be looking for the town to pay for the postage.
So just I spoke with the town clerk this morning, and she actually gave me this. This is 2 postcards with forever stamps. It's $1.04 for 2 postcards, and that includes the postage. And we would just have to have them printed with whatever we want to go to, and we could mail those out to houses. But there's a cost associated with it.
$1.04, you said?
$1.04,
Okay. Per mailing?
How many households do we have in town?
about 3,500 is what I was told.
3,500.
I did some inquiring this morning just to have.
So
something.
it's gonna be under $4,000 probably. Plus printing.
Plus printing.
So, I'll catch Terry on his first week and see what he wants to give us for money, and I'll report back in an email if that becomes an issue. If it does, and we do not have a source of funds.
Right.
So if we had to do this other than postage, it would have to be done in a way that was free. There's not much free stuff, and that would become challenging, but I think that would, as long as we could get this commitment,
So I'll say, if we can't do that, we can try and put up flyers and things like that, and, you know, in hot spots in town, and see if that can drive folks to it, but it'll be less effective than getting the mail out.
Yes.
okay, so I'll check about the postage and see if we can get that approved.
Sure.
And the $1.04 is for both mailings, the return?
Yeah, it would be, well, there's no return. So what we would do is we put like the QR code on it or the website for the survey on it.
Okay,
It's more of a notification, so the clerk uses this to mail out and return.
Gotcha.
But we could tear it in half and just use use it as 2 postcards.
okay, gotcha. Okay, anything else related to the survey questions you want to talk about tonight?
I'm all set on the survey questions, thank you.
Any comments? Do we want to make a motion to accept this as the draft and that you'll make the final, any alterations that are given in the next 48 hours? Then we can change it?
Yeah, I would like to make a motion to take this work that has been done, approve it for the draft, and just verify question number 5, and then maybe at our next meeting, put a date together, or put dates together when we want to hold these.
Okay. So the motion is to accept the survey questions as they're presented with 5 being verified.
Yeah, and the flyer.
Let's take them separately. Right?
So that is the motion on the table for now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so,
Second.
okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So the next item is this very cool informational sheet.
So Becky worked really hard on this, so I appreciate that.
Yes,
So what the informational flyer is meant to be is when we have our meetings, and potentially we can float these around afterwards, is to try and give the public the sort of the who, the why, and the what we are doing with a little bit of background information to it, as well as meeting times, as well as tour dates and things like that. So column 1 here on the front is sort of the why and the how we are going about this. And then the middle column talks to what we have done, and it references the reports that were made prior to us being generated and sort of why we came about. Then we talk about the third column there about the next steps of what we're trying to do to reach out to the townsfolk to make them aware of what's going on and potentially what we would like to do to correct the situation. There is information about upcoming meetings that will get updated as we approve this. We'll make it updated and accurate, as well as potential meeting times. So the meeting times, 5 different meeting times, 2 at the senior center, 1 during the weekday in the morning, 1 on a weekday in the evening, library potentially in the weekday evening, and then potentially at the high school on a weekday evening as well. and then a senior center on the Saturday morning, trying to get as many people to come, trying to work around as many schedules as possible, to make sure people have a time and a place that they could come to if they wish to.
And they're all air-conditioned spaces too, which is...
Well, we'll have to go through
Yeah.
that process next, but this is the general plan of how we would like to roll it out. And then if you flip over to the back, the left column, talking about having tours of the Dalton PD. That'll be, of course, as the chief and staff are able to hold it, they will come up with dates and when they'll hold public tours of the facilities to allow people to see what's going on. And then at the bottom there and in the middle is links over to the survey document, as well as the website for this particular for this committee. On that committee site, we will have links to information that we've already gone through, such as the town reports that got everything kicked off, as well as Brian Hume's information. We will have information up there for the video that was made by Dalton Public Television. So we'll try and have all that information on our town website, making it available to folks. We will have an email address, or we do have an email address there, where people can go and reach out to folks if they have questions, they have concerns. They can email us, and then we can talk about how we want to deal with those emails. But I think it would be prudent to make sure that people know that they can, if they don't have time or the ability to come to the meetings, that they can produce questions for us, and we will respond.
And whatever we'd have at the meetings would also be at the...
All right, information that we will be presenting at the meetings is planned to go onto the website. One thing that we didn't kind of talk about here that we also worked on was the frequently asked questions. So if you recall, probably about 3 meetings ago, we met with the select board. We had a co-meeting. They handed to us a list of approximately 20 questions. We went through those questions. We collated them into bins of like questions. And then we are going to distribute those questions out to various townsfolk, meaning like the town manager, chief of police, and other folks who should be the ones to answer those questions appropriately. We will gather those responses, post them on the webpage as frequently asked questions, because when we were looking at the questions, it seemed like all of us had at least seen some version of those questions at some point during this committee's time. So.
We just felt that the questions really needed a direct answer from the appropriate people, so it'd keep us out of our opinions out of
Right,
the questions.
it's not our opinion, it's the town or the representative who should be answering it, and put it there in black and white, and then we can certainly have discussions about that, but that is the stance at the time.
Perfect.
Time of the asking. And then it's, just to sort of round out the last column here on the backside, it's just all the members and voting and non-voting that are participating with it. And then you'll notice that all the lovely pictures on here, these are ones that are related to the police department and some of the issues that there are there, drywall missing, exposed studs, missing chunks of flooring,
Stairs.
lovely cell, the stairs, which never seem to be quite wide enough for people to get up and down, especially when you're trying to hustle somebody.
You should see the
who
video
doesn't
of my
want to.
son falling down those stairs.
Can we put that on the website?
We could put that on the website. He probably won't.
We can
see us.
blur his face out and,
It was raining, and every time it rains, the stairs get wet, and they become a serious hazard for us.
So, I mean,
And the poor kid was coming in when he got out of school and fell right down the stairs.
There's one other thing that we had some photos of what the minimum requirements were for a new facility. So Brian Humes had emailed us kind of like a PowerPoint with that. And we're going to take that PowerPoint and just put, what a facility's supposed to be like and what we're dealing with. And just try to run that both on a PowerPoint presentation at the meetings and on the website so they can just see. And just, I think we spelled it out pretty good here. Everything that we're doing is to a minimum. So if nothing is overdone. We could go more, but everything is at the bare minimum for the requirements for the state and everybody.
Okay.
So, yeah, so that was the third thing, and the fourth thing that we also did was putting together the presentation of here's what it could be or should be, and this is what we're dealing with. And it does a nice job of trying to compare and contrast all the problems that police and others are dealing with as they're trying to use this public facility.
Is it ready, is it something that's, like, I saw it, but is it like canned, ready to go?
It's Brian's, it doesn't have the
Just
new
Brian's will
pictures.
work for now because all the other photos, we already have them, so we're just gonna kind of input,
Oh, I see
our
what
current
you did, you just
photos.
dressed up, and made it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I got it.
Oh,
So we put our 32-foot locker room next to that one.
Wow.
That's the ladies, the men's locker room. I think that was about 100 square feet. That's the dispatch center.
That's cool.
That would be the Sally Port. So at least they can see what we have or don't have. We figured a couple of them photos would be nice to do the parking lot of the dumpster at Town Hall.
I couldn't even imagine what it would be like to work
yeah.
in a place like that.
Just remember this photo, go to sleep tonight, have a nice dream.
Yeah.
No, this is nice, this is great information.
So we'll just put what we have and mix it in there.
Bill, this informational brochure, I guess, is what is, how would we distribute this? Would this be just electronically?
Well, my thought is electronically, because we're gonna have it out there, but also if we printed some of these out, left them at the town hall, left them at the senior center, and a couple other places, they can, after we figure out where the dates are and what time they are, we'll put it on there, and then everybody, we'll pass these out ahead of time, and if people want to pick them up and take them, and check the dates and things like that, we could do that. If they just want to bring home, read it, they go on the websites, and not have to even show up, but can go through, answer the questions, and then we can compile all the answers, and then get them back to us to get back to the select board.
Is this something we can probably just use 2 pages and put this in a post if we wanted to do this through a Facebook post or any
Yeah.
other social media? We can use
Absolutely.
that, yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, other than not knowing the dates, I think this is,
It's a good start.
yeah,
It's a great start.
yeah.
We had some dates, it was like 3 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday, if you wanted to do that.
Why not?
But,
How are you going to pick the dates? Are you just going to just kind of go through and figure out what's a good,
I
do a
think-
9 one day, do an 11?
I think we gotta check with the police chief and her facility first. Then we have to check with the senior center, the library, the school, and see what's available and when we can do it. And, it's gonna be a little bit more work for Becky, but, she's a trooper. But I think that if we put them on there and got the dates pretty much within a couple-week period of everybody, we can get it done. And then give it a couple weeks to have feedback from it, and then cut it off, right?
Yeah, so the general thought process is that we were going to hold the meetings in July. We would leave the survey questions open for the month of July, and then close them in August, give us time to compile all the information, try to make heads and tails of it, and then use that as potential information to send back over to the select board, either in our report or in a separate document. But just trying to push that information over to them and let them make the decisions that they have to make.
It's a good point too, Ryan, that this may end up just becoming a supporting document of this report that we may still be required to submit. So it may not be a freestanding document of itself, but right, it could support itself as a freestanding document if needed for our next steps. So I mean, other than not knowing the dates, I would say, I'd love to see a motion to approve this informational brochure.
I'd like to make a motion to approve this brochure, less the dates, we'll fill in at another time.
Can we have a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Great. Super, a lot of work.
Craig, just one more thing. The only thing we really have left to give back to the select board is just our final stuff, right? Final letter.
Our recommendation
Yeah.
by December of this year is where we stand. We can give it to them any sooner, but right now we have until
They
December.
have not, I'm sorry, Tom, they have not amended our charter at all?
No, not,
Okay.
I mean, the question did arise with Tony Pags, should we? And he then whisked off to the select board. I think it's worth asking the select board the question.
So I think what I was getting at is that if we finalize this, and then we're ready for us to put our draft together to give them, and then just leave it at that for the next step, because they would have all the information that we could ever really come up with. Because the next step is to figure out if there's going to be a warrant, or if the money's going to come, or...
It just matters
You know?
when we can finish the document and when
Yeah.
we've done our due diligence, our homework, and if it's September, we're ready after we get through the summer and we're ready to submit to the select board, that's what we would do. Unless there's a reason that this committee feels that the charge should be changed in some way, I'm certainly welcome to consider if there's a change.
There was discussion when we were having the joint meetings with the select board that they were asking us to do other things, which is fine, but it just was outside of our charter. And so the question was, is if you want us to do that, please update the charter, and then we will go forward and execute.
I think we will wait for the select board to make that decision to us,
Correct.
and we haven't had any feedback, so.
Which
I can
is-
certainly reach out to Mr. Bishop and ask him if he intends on leaving the charter as is, or if he would like to make some changes to it. But otherwise, I think we already, unless we have a change we'd like to make to the charge, I'd say until he comes back to us.
My thought is if just everybody's okay with it, if we get this documentation done in that time frame, I think we just move through and finalize it, and then, you know, we're all set. And if they want to reissue another charter or another plan down the road, to go ahead, but I think we're definitely where we're at.
So one scenario is you get community responses back over the summer and it changes Brian's current work and he might have to do some alterations to it. So that's something we should start thinking about too, is when do we want to start bringing Brian back in, because he has to finish his portion of the work for our report and it's going to take him several months still to do that.
So I would say that we should hold our meetings with the public, get that feedback.
So we can give that to Brian also if there's questions there that were,
Yeah, I don't know if any of those questions are necessarily directly
no, but
impacted.
if they had put questions in on the website or the email.
So we want Brian
This is
there.
something
Yeah.
to communicate with the select board about too.
Yeah, if there was
Results
anything,
of the
that
survey.
we pass off anything to Brian, pass whatever off to the select board and then our stuff. So then, that, you know, everybody will have their task, because other than the location right now, I think Brian's at a standstill, right?
Yeah, he's been asked to stand
Yeah.
back until we've given him direction, so.
Yeah.
Do we want Brian at these meetings? He is available for some. I don't believe we own 5 meetings, but I think we own 3 workshops with Brian. So if you felt that it would be beneficial to have him at those community meetings, he could be there.
I think it would be beneficial, especially if we're going to do something for the school or a bigger room with a bigger audience, to definitely have it there, and that way.
Maybe he can come to 2 out of the 5, for instance.
I wouldn't want to burn them all on these, but at least the ones that we think are going to be more widely attended, I'd like to get his.
I'll send you down the contract amount of workshops he's owed to us, and then you guys can figure out on the committee or on the ad hoc how you want to use those dates with him. And work out the dates, because he'll have to be available for the times you're.
And I guess just one more thing, and I don't know if we need to make a motion on it, but everything that we just approved tonight, these drafts, should we send these up to the select board to make sure that they're okay with what we're doing. And I just,
I would just pose that as a question to
Yeah.
Mr. Bishop and
yeah, just pose it
get
as a
his,
question.
Yeah,
his
okay.
feedback.
We'll shoot it over to them and make sure that they're okay with everything that we're doing, and because maybe they want to appear at these meetings with us. And-
No,
and
that's fair,
finance.
and Bob is not here tonight, nor is Terry, so it probably would be a good idea for them to see it, for sure. So,
Do we
would
need
you
that
like me
in a
to send
motion?
that?
Do you need that in a motion, or? No, I would just forward it to them and just get some type of approval back to keep moving forward, that no, they don't feel like they want to be there, yes, someone will be there to represent them.
Craig, I can email you clean copies.
Anything else that came out of your community engagement activities?
That covers everything.
Seems like a lot.
Yeah, a lot, and like I said, Becky and Ryan did a lot of stuff in a very, very short amount of time. And
Yeah, I mean,
it's lightning for what we did.
and still
I
do your other
appreciate it.
jobs on top of it. Right, your real jobs. Appreciate it, very much so. Does the ad hoc group need to do anything else prior to starting to put together these dates and actually activating the information?
I don't think
We just have one question we have to clear, and then we'll look for feedback
I
from
think we got,
select board that we're okay to go ahead, and then after that, we'll nail down the dates, we'll make sure that we have access to facilities, and then we'll work with
And I
Mr.
think
Humes to make sure that he
Becky's
can
gonna get up
support.
with you on an email here or something.
All right,
Yeah.
we already took care of it.
Okay, good. So then, other than that, no, just, I mean, if the select board's good with it and wants to be a part of it, we'll just try to figure out how to have that. And you're gonna talk and see if we got any money to put this stuff up, and if not, we'll
We'll find other ways.
we'll find money to get it done. And other than that, I make a motion, we adjourn.
Do we need a new meeting? Do we want to adjourn for the month of July, knowing that it's probably vacation time for many families?
I would be okay with that. I'd like to say that we should get together the very first week of August to just come back to where we are, just status of things.
That's as the committee, as this committee.
Just as a holder,
Is everybody gonna be here with the first or second week of July? Because
first
there's,
week only for me.
no?
See, that's what I'm saying, when you start
That's
looking at
next week.
dates, you could end up.
Yeah, but I'm saying the first or second week, so.
I'm
like,
gone for 2 weeks in July.
So should
I
we
may never-
try the third week of July, just to have a
Becky's
meeting to
not
get the
here.
dates?
I'm gone the third week.
We're
of
gone
July.
in July, both of us. Like,
So,
second and
July.
third week of July, we're both gone.
Do we need to come back here to get the dates approved? I did not
No.
understand. Okay.
I don't think so.
I'm just thinking our next task as a committee would be to come back after you were starting your media presence, and we'd be looking at these workshops, and maybe, I'm not sure if the committee needs to have some structure to this and some agenda to these workshops that we're going to put together.
Just as long as, I mean, all the information's been approved, it's just a point of having the knowledge of what we're gonna do with you by email, right?
So if someone comes into a public
Yeah.
forum, I just would want each one to look the same, whatever we do, so we present the same information in the same way, so
It
no
would
one
all-
says
Yeah.
it's different. So I'm just thinking along those lines, do we need to approve a script or some presentation?
I don't think so, because everything is primarily here, and then in that PowerPoint that we just seen, and we're gonna use the photos that have already been done by Dalton TV, and what's already been printed out from the ADA reports, and that are already done from everybody. So all the information's already been approved and is currently on the website in the town of Dalton anyways, that we're gonna use in here.
So I would say, I would agree that maybe the first Wednesday in August for the committee to meet,
Okay.
and the community engagement group will be doing activities through July, but it sounds like July's not the month to be doing these workshops.
So we'll flesh out the dates.
Yeah.
I would think, let's put a pin in for the 6th, and then depending on when we hold these dates, we can adjust our our next meeting time, but just to have a date for the moment.
So does that work for everyone on the
5:30 on the 6th?
5:30 if that, I mean, it depends.
Yep,
It's up to me.
5:30 works
Whatever they
for me.
work, so 5:30.
So, we got a room,
Yeah.
okay. So 5:30 on August 6th.
Will be next meeting. Thank you. And if you want now, make a motion to adjourn. Go ahead.
Motion to adjourn.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.